My name is Kojo Barrison, Secret News Ghana here, a blogger from Ghana. So there's something bothering my mind that I want to share with Ghanaians. I don't know if that could be also important to you as well. It's obvious that these days, what we call an exchange of sex for money is becoming so common and rampant in our society. Prostitution in Ghana. I want to ask, Mr. President, is prostitution in Ghana now a legalized business or not? First of all, I would want to talk something that I feel the leadership of the country is supposed to know and take the necessary step. First of all, I want us to take a look at what really prostitution itself means. And I have here with me a little compilation of my own definitions that I would want to share with you. When we say prostitution, it is the practice or the occupation of engaging in sexual activity with someone for payment or other forms of compensation. Now, I want to ask, when you say something is illegal, it simply means that the law of the country does not accept the practice of that in the nation. But it looks like prostitution, especially when it comes to the street prostitution in Ghana, is becoming very common and it is growing at the highest speed. Now, when you say prostitution, we have types of prostitution. In order for you to understand and know what really I am trying to convey, I will just state the types of prostitutions we have and the one that has triggered my appetite to make our leadership know of this. One, we have street prostitution. Alright, street prostitution. And then number two, we also have border prostitution. And then number three, we have escort services. For the sake of time, I'm only going to state them for you. Maybe in the next or the subsequent episodes, I'll come here and dig into it more for you to understand. And the fourth one is online prostitution. Mostly we call it a hookup. And then the last one is survivor sex prostitution. You know, my reason for appearing on this camera is to let the leadership of this nation to take an immediate step towards the act. Now, why am I saying all this? When you say an act is criminalized, it simply means that when someone is caught in the act, the person can be arrested immediately without even seeking for the second option as to asking whether the person have any reason or not. Now, you and I will attest to the fact that when you say street prostitution in the country, it is becoming very alarming. You know what? One of the major keys that has triggered me to put this on camera is the rate at which the industry is growing in Ghana. Right? Just as somebody who is smoking weed by the roadside can be picked up immediately without giving the person any chance, the same way prostitution, anybody caught in the act can be arrested immediately. But as so many reasons that I may not have idea of, I don't know why the industry is left growing just like this. Now, I want us to take a look at this point. Reasons why Secret News Ghana, I want the government, I want the authorized institutions, and I want the leadership of this country to take immediate steps are three reasons. And all those three reasons bounces back under a single umbrella. I want the government to enforce the law against the practice in the country if it is illegal. Reason being that the rates at which sexually transmitted disease, for instance, HIV/AIDS is spreading, is very wide. And so for me, I find it very important, very necessary for the government, for Mr. President, as well as people with higher authorities, to fit in immediately and address the issue of the rampant or the alarming rate at which the industry is growing in Ghana. Quickly, I want to take you through some of the effect that it may have on these young female ones. 1. Exploitation and abuse. That is, the inability to physical emotions and sexually abused by pimps, clients, and traffickers. A young female who does not know much about the business she finds herself into, they end up in this situation. And then number 2, health risk. That is, increase in risk of STDs, HIV/AIDS, and other health problems due to unprotected sex and lack of access to health care. Number 3, addiction. Exposure to drugs and substance leading to addiction and further exploitation. Number 4, trafficking. Risk of being trafficked into more dangerous and exploitative situation is easy. It's a whole lot that if I said I'll talk about it, time wouldn't permit us. These and many more are some of the effects that the young female may encounter. Now let me come to my point. Now I want to take a tour to talk about some of the easiest causes of prostitution in the country. Of course, yes, there is no job, or I would say there is inadequate job in the country. Somebody will say it's an unemployment rate is very high, and that has contributed, and it is still contributing to the growth of sex work industry in Ghana. And then number 2, I would say poverty and economic crisis. Poverty and economic crisis. And then number 3, lack of education. When a young female or a young boy does not really understand or know the consequences for involving in such act, he or she may only consider the positive advantage of engaging in the act just for money or survival. And then the last point is substance abuse and addiction. You know, this is a broad topic that if I will really talk about it, it will take us the whole day to dive into it. What I want the government, what I want the leadership of the country, what I want the authorities in power to take control of such things to know is they should rise up and speak against the act. When we say something is criminalized, the law is stating it clearly that if you are caught in the act, you shall be penalized, or you can be arrested immediately for any other punishment that is due of you. But however, the industry here in Ghana is growing day by day. Mr. President, leadership of Ghana, the right authorities, I am Secret News Ghana, a blogger from Ghana, and this is what I have seen, that it is actually dooming the future of our young generation, especially the female ones. And therefore, I am sending this video for you to consider it as something very important, so that you can enforce the law that speak against it, being it illegal in the country. I believe you and I could attest to the fact that weed smoking is strictly illegal in Ghana, and for that reason, if anybody by any virtue chances on anybody smoking weed, that person can either report or arrest the person immediately if he has the power. Regulate prostitution in Ghana or legalize it. Somebody may ask me, why am I advocating that prostitution, which is illegal in the country, must be regulated or legalized? Now, like I said earlier, when you say something is illegal, it is simply telling us that the act in question is strictly against the law of the nation. But however, street prostitution in Ghana is now very common. Very, very common in our societies, in our communities, and in everywhere we find ourselves. For that reason, if the thing is illegal and yet it is growing rapidly, it is simply telling us that the government has actually neglected that industry, or he has neglected that side of the constitution. It is illegal, but yet it is growing rapidly. Then I have the right in my senses to issue this, that the president, the leadership, or people in a position should regulate it with structures or legalize it, serving it with education that will guide people who find interest in the business. Mr. President and other people with the power are looking at things as if it is not happening. Please, I am begging the general public to actually accept this video as something very important. I am not saying that someone who finds herself into the sex business to go hungry, but then I want to tell you this: you cannot sacrifice your mother for money simply because you are suffering from poverty. If your mom is sick and you are looking for money to cure the sickness, and somebody comes to tell you that, look, sacrifice your mom for me and you shall gain the money to go and cure the sickness. As smart as you are, you don't have to give in for the person. I am Kojo Harrison, Secret News Ghana. I'll come back again with more details on this. Please, let us stop prostitution in the nation. Thank you.